Hi folks, in this video I'm going to show you how I switched to using Vagrant for my day-to-day Rails development. I have a Mac and I used to do all my development on Mac, and I still use Mac, but now I have started using Vagrant. So in order to use Vagrant you need to have VirtualBox, and then you can install Vagrant. And if you are running my script, which is available at bigbinary/vagrant machine, then you need Ansible. Ansible is a tool something similar to Chef or Puppet. I am familiar with Chef, but I found a little bit struggling with Chef, and Ansible was much easier for me to work with. I spent an hour with Ansible and I got it, so I started using Ansible. So this is the script, and now let's go and see how to use it. So here I have already cloned the virtual machine into the folder called VM, and I have on the left hand side on my editor I have the repository open. So the first thing is that you need to, as the readme says, you need to open the group vars all, and here you need to configure your get username and get email. Once that's done, then you need to go to Ruby task YAML, and you can change here the Ruby version that you want to be installed. Sometimes when I'm upgrading the app, I need more than one Ruby version. In that case, you can just add another line like this. Okay, so I'm going to start the installation here, and while the script is running I will look at some of the code that is present in the script. So in order to start, I need to do vagrant up, and it will start its work. So first let's look at a vagrant profile. So vagrant profile, one thing you will notice here in the vagrant profile is that I am using NFS true. So I'm using NFS because without NFS vagrant is very slow. When I'm running my test or when I'm testing my Rails development work, it is much faster if I have NFS true. But because of NFS, this script will prompt me for my machine password. If you are using NFS true, then you also need to enable the private network, and I'm using DHCP. So if you put these two, then you're good to go. I have put the verbose mode as a V, which means that I will get to see a lot more data on the right hand side what's happening. So as we can see right now, after gathering facts and whatnot, it is doing installing packages like curl, get, tree, etc. Let's look at the code. So that would be in package ubuntu main.yaml. I have the name installing packages like get, curl. Oh, by the way, this is Ansible. So we have this format of name, then sudo yes or no, then apt the package, and with item. So this is like an array which gets replaced here. So it's simple. And after installing the packages, I install Heroku toolbuild, then ack. You already know group var. This is where you can put your git configuration, phantom.js version, Postgres version, etc. Customizing get. So here I customize get with the aliases and some default values like push.default current, and we also set the get global name and get email. And here I customize bash. I add git command completion, the command prompt. From my profile, TinyScript is something which has a number of useful scripts like pushing the code to GitHub, etc. And I also use bash marks. So those things are configured here. I have phantom.js here and Postgres here, and the last one is Ruby. So so that's a quick walkthrough of what the script does. Right now the script is running. Once the script is done, finished with running, then I will get into the guest machine, and I will show you how I use it. By the way, for the terminology, this Mac, your native terminal, I call it host machine, and the machine that is prepared by Vagrant, that is called guest machine. So we will be using host versus guest a lot. So I'm going to put this video on pause, and once the script is done, then I will come back. So the script just finished. So to get into the guest machine, I need to do Vagrant SSH, and I'm into the guest machine. This is Ubuntu, and I can do ls to see what I have in my home directory, and these are some of the files and the folders which have been installed. So now what we need to do, we need to get to our code directory. So the way you can get to the host current directory, so this thing was executed from this VM, this folder. So all my code is there in code. So the way you want to get to code in Vagrant is cd/vagrant. So cd/vagrant is the current directory from where we executed the script. So here I can see the code and provisioning directory. If I do ls, I can see code and provisioning directory. So always cd/vagrant is the gets you the current directory, and Vagrant by default takes care of all the syncing and all that is very transparent to you. So now what I need to do is cd code big binary LLC, and we'll work on wheel project. So this is a wheel project where I have already configured the database and other things. So one thing you'll notice is that right now I'm in the guest machine, but in the guest machine my prompt and get and all those things is already configured. So that's because it's all in the VM script. Feel free to fork the script and configure so that it pulls in your script, your command prompt. So here I will do rake db create. Oh, so I need to do bundle install. So bundle install is going to take some time. Bundle install is finished. Now let's try to do rake db create, and this application has a rake setup which sets up some default data. So we'll do rake setup, and now what we are going to do is that we are going to run Rails server. So notice that we are in the guest machine because I can see the user Vagrant. So we are, and it's running on port 3000. And now we'll go to local machine. In my local machine, I will go to the 3000 and the app is running. Okay, so the good thing about the Vagrant is that it does not change your style of working. You can still access the application as localhost 3000, and not only that, you can still make the changes to the code. So for example, let me go to cd code. So this is the application. Now let me change the title of this application. So I have application.html.erb, and I'm going to change the title to wheel new. So I'm working on my local machine. I changed the file, but the Rails is running on the guest machine. But if I go to my application, which is once again on the host machine, and if I refresh the page, I see the new title. So that's the beauty of Vagrant, is that you continue to use localhost 3000 on your machine. You continue to do the code editing tool that you want to use. You can use Sublime, you can use Vim, you can do whatever you want. The only thing is that Rails is running in the guest machine. So on my host machine, I don't even need to have in fact Ruby on Rails installed. So that's about how I use Vagrant. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.